The Donetsk sector is once again an intense stage of modern warfare, where advanced technology meets conventional infantry tactics. Recent video from the front lines shows a dramatic moment: a Russian infantry group advancing in makeshift vehicles, an old Russian-made Bukhanka minibus, and a light tactical buggy, attempting to move along a narrow path toward Ukrainian defensive positions. The vehicles were being used to transport enemy personnel closer to the Ukrainian defense lines along the narrow path toward the troop positions. From the very beginning of the advance, Ukrainian drones had detected the small column, with reconnaissance drones scanning every meter of the route, monitoring the enemy's path. Once the small column began moving and its targets were locked, FPV drones struck with precision, hitting vehicles and personnel seeking cover along the path. The Bukhanka minibus, used as a troop transport, immediately became the primary target. The first drone explosion shook the Russian infantry, sending them scattering for cover, and the aerial pursuit continued. Every enemy movement was monitored and intercepted. It didn't stop there. A buggy used for quick maneuvers was also hit by gunfire. This light vehicle, which Russia typically relies on for swift movement on open roads, was hit precisely as it attempted to evade the main route. As a result, the infantry group lost all mobility, becoming an open target for further attacks. The strategic use of drones in this operation demonstrated the effectiveness of complete control over enemy logistics and movement routes. Any infiltration attempt towards Donetsk now poses significant risks, even for small groups. The footage reaffirms the weakness of Russian infantry tactics in the face of Ukrainian drone dominance. With close surveillance and precision strikes, one enemy unit after another was eliminated, leaving behind a trail of wrecked vehicles and a trail of defeat. While from the Sumy direction, also there are interesting updates. Ukrainians have completely annihilated the Russian Sumy offensive from the air, launching devastating strikes all across the board, with even redeployed air defense assets falling victim to Western-supplied bombs. Russian operations are falling apart at the seams as each sector is meticulously targeted without mercy. Ukraine's armed forces have decisively crushed the Russian offensive into Sumy by cutting off their supply and reinforcement routes through continuous targeting from the air. This success was made possible by Ukraine's systematic clearing of the skies, with Russian air defense assets stretched across the entire front line being repeatedly hunted down. Buk and Tor systems, deployed to protect Russian command posts and depots, became prime targets. In one case, a Russian Tor system continuously hampered Ukrainian attempts at airstrikes, resulting in the air defense system becoming the target instead. In another, a Russian Tor battery malfunctioned trying to intercept a Ukrainian airstrike, with the missile veering off course and striking a nearby Russian ammunition storage instead. Additionally, Ukrainian operators used fiber-optic FPV drones to stalk and destroy Buk launchers. With these systems eliminated or suppressed, the preparation was done, and the Ukrainian strike aircraft were free to operate over the front, while Western bombs shatter Russian spearhead near Tyotkino and across Kursk. The first major blow landed near Tyotkino. Ukrainian fighters used AASMH-AMMER bombs and JDAMs to strike infantry groups and ammunition stores at Lokot, Tetkino, and Dronivka, while a bridge at Zabolotivka was demolished to sever supply routes. Drone operators in Glushkovo were targeted with JDAM strikes, while troops sheltering in a grain elevator at Tyotkino were buried under rubble. Additional airstrikes leveled drone coordination centers in Korovyakivka and troop concentrations across Tyotkino, followed by hits on crossings at Zvanoe. Each wave of hammers and JDAM's bombs shattered Russian attempts to mass forces, leaving corpses and destroyed buildings across the Kursk villages, feeding the offensive. Further southeast on the Sumy side of the border, the blows continued and opened huge gaps in the Russian lines. Ukrainian aviation destroyed bases from where Russian drone operators were operating at Oleksiivka and Lochnia, undermining Russian drone support capabilities, before destroying forces concentrations at Kindrativka and Oleksiivka, where Russian infantry had fortified inside of civilian buildings. In Yunakivka, multiple bridges and troop concentrations were hit, leaving Russian soldiers buried in collapsed structures. Perhaps the most devastating blow came in the Kursk region north of the border, where the headquarters of the 155th Marine Brigade was obliterated at Koronevo while preparing for redeployment to Pokrovsk. High-ranking officers, including Major General Gudkov, were killed, gutting the command of one of Russia's elite formations. Additional strikes prevented the Russians from being able to fill in these gaps and leveled command centers at Kulbaki and troop concentrations in Sudza. In each case, Ukrainian reconnaissance drones adjusted the targeting with lethal precision, ensuring no survivors and capturing the events on footage. On the eastern flank, Ukrainian aircraft struck across Belgorod to prevent Russian reinforcements from stabilizing the situation and trying to hit the Ukrainian counterattacks from the side. Hammer bombs flattened enemy garrisons in Kozinka, while JDAMs destroyed drone control posts at Repyakivka. Bridges and positions at Guevo and Grafivka were pounded, and strikes at Kolotilivka killed entire groups of infantry. By hammering both the staging grounds and supply arteries in Belgorod and Kursk, Ukraine ensured that Russian columns advancing towards Sumy were bled dry before even reaching the border. Overall, what the Russian High Command once threatened as a march on Sumy city now lies in ruins, its spearheads shattered by Ukrainian air power, and its command structure gutted with the evident result of a collapsed Russian offensive. Russia has begun pulling units from this sector to reinforce Pokrovsk, a clear sign that the offensive has failed. Ukrainian air superiority, established by dismantling Russian air defenses and exploiting gaps with precision bombs, was the decisive factor. And for the Russian command, dreams of reaching the capital of Sumy are gone. For Ukraine, the skies over the region now belong firmly to them, and their dominance has rewritten the court.
Armata!